I'm Joff Brown, Technical Director at Pip Hare Racing. We're in the team workshop van down Poole Quay today. Just a couple of days to go until we're off to the Route du Rhum in St Malo. The start is in St Malo. So the boat's in pretty good shape. We're just packing up, ready to get going. Not the final go on spares. I'll do another work around probably in St Malo because I always have second thoughts on things. But this is sort of preliminary sort of final pack, I guess, for the spares. This is a typical spares bag which Pip stacks from side to side. A variety of things are going in this one. This one's the red spares bag, so they're not necessarily natural bedfellows, but we basically try to keep the weight light, well, not light, but equal amongst the bags. So in this case, we've got boat building in with electrics, but it just means that the bag is the same weight as a bag which has probably got mechanical stuff and sail repair in, for example. So I've been doing this for 22 years. I would say probably 98% of spares never get used. You probably want another 5% of things that you don't put on the boat during the race, which is frustrating. But basically, you wouldn't want to be without anything that I'm probably packing here, I think. So as I said, we've got electric spares. So we've got some spare cables for most of the functions on the boat, because effectively they're household items, really, in a marine environment. So we do tend to go through those. So here we've got a Balmar regulator, which regulates the voltage coming off the alternator. Again, it's an electronic component in the engine bay, so likely chance of, hopefully not, but some water getting in there somewhere at some time. So we carry a spare one of those. And also a spare keyboard, which do tend to go flying if they're not velcroed down. And then also we've got loads of fuses. As I said, I've been doing this a long time. I cannot actually think of a race where a fuse has been changed. But obviously in your mind, if a fuse goes during a race, you don't want to not have one on the boat. And then if you've got one, do you want two? Do you want three? And questions like that. So this is why it's sort of a circular process whereby you sort of do it. We started building the spares kit earlier in the year. I will start to have doubts about things the closer we get to a race, so invariably I'll add more things, or we'll change something on the boat that needs a new element of spares. So fuses, never use them. Weighs, what's that? It's probably like 500, 750 grams, something like that. So it's a bit of weight. But you wouldn't want Pip phoning up saying, I've blown a fuse, where's the spare? And you haven't put one on board. So that's driving that. So then boat build, this is the second part of this bag, is boat building. Again, obviously during the race, Pip's fairly limited to what she can do. It's a fairly short race, transatlantic. So we're not going to carry as much as we would for the Vendée Globe. We carry carbon cloth, but not much of it, because effectively we carry 2 lots of this, which is a Sycamine underwater resin, so it cures, ideally not underwater, but in a wet environment it will cure. But obviously we've got, how much of that have we got? We've got 1, 2, so we've got probably 2 kilos of resin on board. So there's no point carrying a load of carbon because you're not going to be able to wet it out. So we've got an appropriate amount of carbon and some plastic for laminating into, bucket for mixing, scissors, gloves, rollers, mask, brush, anything she needs. So we're sort of limiting, any repair is going to be, that size. If something bigger than that happens, then obviously she's not going to be able to repair it. But things like steering, the rudder steering shafts, something like that breaking, a batten breaking, she could repair. Something that's metallic, you could ultimately repair with carbon potentially to bond it all back together again. So that's why we carry that stuff. And then Sikaflex, we've got 4 here. We'll run with 4 tubes. Sika's really good. It can be used for anything really. Sail repairs. We carry some C plate, which is just carbon plate, which if you had a hole in something, you could Sika that down. Sika's sort of water curing really, so it pushes the water out as it cures. So it's really good for the marine environment where everything's wet the majority of the time. Tyvek suit for if she has to get serious and do some grinding. We carry a Makita battery drill, angle drill, and angle grinder on board. So angle grinder if there's something serious needs cutting. In a previous race, I think Hugo Boss had to cut the hydraulic ram off, which is like it's like a 50mm diameter titanium or stainless, can't remember what it was, rod. But they managed to cut that in half and allow the keel to drift away from the boat, or sink, I guess, away from the boat, and stop it wrecking the boat. So you never quite know what you're going to need something to do. But as far as we can, within, probably for this race, we'll carry 2, 3, maybe 3 bags of spares. And out of those 3, you need to be able to sort of, pretty much fix any part of the boat as much as you can at sea. Okay. So yeah, so that's a little bit about the spares. As I said, probably 99% of this won't get used, but we wouldn't want to be without it at sea. And it's a little bit of the background as to what we do to support Pip. We're off to St Malo in a couple of days, as I said. So hopefully from there we'll do a little bit more. We've got safety checks, and I'll try and sort of take you on that journey, I guess, as to what we do to prepare the week before a race.